40 years ago, we opened our doors with one mission in mind.
We'll be right back with the top 10 songs of 1983.
To sell quality American-made vehicles at a fair price.
You have arrived.
And we've loved every minute of the ride. Celebrating 40 years of Two Rivers Ford.
Just when you thought it might be a slow Monday, holy hell. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. Lamar Jackson, former NFL MVP, has just taken a hatchet to the Baltimore Ravens organization, fan base, and otherwise while his head coach is speaking in Phoenix at the NFL's owners' meetings right now. It's happening live as we get ready to get into today's discussion. We got a lot of things related to the Titans. Kevin Byard ran Carthon's comments on that, and we'll share those with you here in just a second. Of course, your phone call is always welcome, 615-737-1045. That's the number. Where do you think Lamar Jackson plays football in 2023? Any guesses at this point?
Baltimore.
Oh, I don't think so, bud.
Yeah, this never happens, right?
Not like this. This is a distinctly unique situation. So, if you haven't seen the news, literally, I was walking up the ramp into work about 5 minutes ago. Lamar Jackson has just taken to Twitter to do like an Ask Me Anything, an AMA, with fans on social media. He titled it as an open letter to Ravens fans. And as a part of that, he has stated, I guess I can read you the whole thing if you would like for me to. Easy enough. But the open letter to Raven fans starts like this. I want to first thank you all for the love and support you consistently show towards me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate you all so much. I want you all to know not to believe everything you read about me. Let me personally answer your questions. Win the Super Bowl. So these are the, in regards to my future plans, as of March 2nd. So what was that? Like middle of the combine? That sounds right. I think the first day we were up there was like February 28th.
Yes. March 2nd would have been near the end of the week in Indy.
So at some point during Combine Week, Lamar Jackson requested a trade from the Ravens organization. He says, for which the Ravens have not been interested in meeting my value. Any and everyone that has met me or been around me knows I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. You all are great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family and I. No matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore Flock Nation and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again. Oh, okay. So, Lamar, in the middle of the non-exclusive franchise tag stuff, has said, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I'm all set. I don't know if he's going to get the contract that he's after. I don't know if he's going to get fully guaranteed money. I don't know what the length of the deal is going to be. I don't know which teams are going to actively get in on him because nobody has actively been in on him thus far. So when you say we've not seen a situation like this before, I really don't think there's much precedent to this beyond Aaron Rodgers making appearances on the Pat McAfee show, right? In the NFL anyway, where a quarterback, I'm not talking about like Le'Veon Bell trying to, go rogue, sit out a year, and then take a lesser deal with the New York Jets. I'm not talking about, guys trying to leverage their position in ways that are usually not possible because the NFL doesn't really deal a lot in player leverage. They don't have to. But at the quarterback position, there's the leverage. And when Lamar Jackson puts out there publicly he requested a trade and that the Ravens have not been interested in meeting his value, and you follow that up with a Jeremy Fowler report on SportsCenter this morning saying that the Ravens are prepared at this point to move on from Lamar Jackson. I think that this is going to be received in a couple of different ways. One, it's going to continue to stir up the cycle about teams who are potentially, Vegas betting odds to land Lamar Jackson and how much have the Titans' percentage chance gone up since he decided he was going to let it publicly be known that he requested a trade. All these different things, and probably, I would say 30 of the 32 NFL markets is probably having a Lamar Jackson discussion today. But here's the thing that I think that I take away from this more than anything. And it seems like something that fans, and, I think just generally sports fans, I think sports fans generally struggle to come to terms with the idea that the vast majority of these dudes do not give a damn about your team the way that you care about your team. You have exceptions. We're going to talk about one later. Kevin Byard. He's a homegrown product. I know he's from originally Georgia, but MTSU, loves playing for the Titans. Clearly means a lot to him, this part of the country, and how much he's been able to accomplish in his career. He says things, and, other players have said stuff like this before, but the idea that he would like to retire a Titan, this is where his legacy is, on and on and on it goes. Kevin Byard's the exception, not the rule. Lamar Jackson's from South Florida. You think he gives a damn about, his lifelong aspirations of winning a Super Bowl championship for the Baltimore Ravens? Probably not at the end of the day. Now, I'm sure many people have aspirations of winning Super Bowls and becoming an NFL superstar and an MVP at quarterback the way that Lamar has already accomplished, but it's not necessarily about the geography for the vast majority of these dudes. So I'm sure there's going to be a reaction from not just Ravens fans, but sports fans who are looking around and people who are debating in places like Nashville. Do you want Lamar Jackson as your quarterback? And there will be a contingent of the fan base, of any fan base, who says, well, injuries are a concern, the style of play, or don't pay a running back, which is the most reductive version of any Lamar Jackson conversation. And then there's the Raven organization who just got. Like, this has basically been a negotiation based on who has the upper hand, as all negotiations almost are. But the Ravens have out-leveraged Lamar Jackson by placing the non-exclusive franchise tag on him. And I think Lamar Jackson has just regained a fair amount of leverage by just saying, you know what, Twitter AMA, I'm going to make all this bleep public. Because if you guys aren't going to pay me, then I'm going to have to take this situation into my own hands. And I absolutely love a marketplace. For no other reason, it's not necessarily good for team building, whatever. But as far as the employee taking leverage over the employment situation, I love what Lamar Jackson just did.
I don't see how it makes that big a difference when a team that would meet Lamar's value would have to trade for him anyway.
Correct. and in ways that are going to still give the Ravens a fair amount of discretion, because they'll have the opportunity to match or decline to match any contract offer that gets put out there. So the Ravens, I still do think, on the whole, have the upper hand. But there's no question that he ramps up public pressure on them, a lot of scrutiny. It's not unintentional. I would have to imagine that literally as John Harbaugh sits down at the owners' meeting breakfast to take questions from media.
Yeah, that plays into the no agent thing. You think somebody's not in Lamar's ear helping him out with the timing of this, or it's a coincidence?
Lamar just woke up on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock, said, be a good time for a tweet.
As Harbaugh is sitting down. By the way, John Harbaugh, quote, "When we're playing football next year and Lamar Jackson's the quarterback, we're all going to be happy."
Somebody better tell Lamar that.
Over and over. John Harbaugh is not budging, saying Lamar is our quarterback in 2023.
And A.J. Brown was going to be a Tennessee Titan as long as Mike Vrabel was the head coach. That means absolutely nothing to me.
And Deebo Samuel requested a trade from San Francisco. That also ended up meaning absolutely nothing.
This is true. But I do think so. It's not necessarily, you don't necessarily find a perfect parallel for what's happening with Lamar. It's more, you can take a little bit from Deebo, you can take a little bit from AJ, and I'm sure there's been trades in recent memory and situations like this in recent memory where a player has tried to out leverage the organization with little to no success. And again, Aaron Rodgers is probably the most. Tom Brady in a different way. It didn't work out with the way that they tried to. Basically forced their way out of Tampa so that he could become part owner and also quarterback of the Miami Dolphins with Sean Payton as the head coach. That was something that the tampering situation brought the hammer down on Miami and Stephen Ross. So we've seen this happen with, not a ton of success. Because for all of Aaron Rodgers, for example, Aaron Rodgers still officially hasn't been traded to the Jets, and we're all acting like he's out there. Like he's already been moved to New York. Like he's already set up shop in Times Square. Or I guess in the Meadowlands, because technically that thing's in New Jersey. Either way, 615-737-1045 is how you join the discussion. Where do you think Lamar Jackson plays football in 2023? Lucas seems to think that the betting odds would favor the team that currently owns his contract rights. But it does seem like that is becoming less and less feasible with each passing day. We'll get into that coming up next. We'll also talk about the March Madness results from the weekend. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Sound. Welcome back on this Monday. 615-737-1045 is how you join the discussion. Where will Lamar Jackson play football in 2023? He's requested a trade, or has requested a trade, for the better part of an entire month now. He is saying publicly on Twitter, March the 2nd is when he officially asked the Ravens to get out. The non-exclusive franchise tag is what was placed on him, giving teams the opportunity to trade for him. Now, John Harbaugh is currently speaking with the media and is saying that he has not seen said tweet from Lamar. This is the Ravens head coach at the NFL owners' meetings today.
I haven't seen the tweet. It's an ongoing process. I'm following it very closely, just like everybody else is here, and looking forward to a resolution. I'm excited. Thinking about Lamar all the time, thinking about him as our quarterback. We're building our offense around that idea, and I'm just looking forward to getting back to football, and I'm confident that's going to
happen. He sounds like he's trying to talk himself into it as much as he's trying to talk everybody else into it. And, you know, the betting, I haven't looked at things like bookies.com and whatever the offshore things are for betting odds on where Lamar Jackson will play this year just yet. And so, those things do matter to a degree, although I think it's just a fun conversational piece more than anything. How many teams are going to look around and look at the Lamar Jackson situation and meet his demands? Because thus far, over a week into, you know, the time period, over a week into the new league year, teams have been able to contact him, teams have been able to offer him a term sheet, and there's been no concrete offers on the table just yet. The only and to see the way that fans react to this stuff is always interesting. Now, Lamar, would you consider Lamar Jackson a polarizing player in the NFL?
Yes, he's been polarizing since before he came into the NFL, of course.
But why?
We still get every tweet about Lamar Jackson. We still get people, no, don't give up 2 first-round picks for a running back. Like, I know the most baseline ignorant thing you can say about Lamar, but yes.
Well, but it's not even that. It's like, so, and again, there's less of these than there are people discussing the idea of wanting Lamar. But I always get curious about the logic of people like, so Saxon in the YouTube chat, he says, nobody wants Lamar Jackson. He's a diva choke artist that can't even play an entire season. Like, where does that come from?
Yeah, I mean, that it looks like it comes from just a hatred of the person.
That
seems deeper than football to me.
and yeah, you're right that Lamar is polarizing, but I guess I've never really understood the polarization of Lamar. Like, Lamar Jackson ran a pro-style offense in college under Bobby Petrino. Like, you look at Lamar coming into the league, he's an MVP caliber player. He's somebody who's been successful in Baltimore. QB win-loss records aren't the end-all be-all for the level of efficiency of a player, but certainly the Ravens are substantially better with him than without him. And so why we're still having this discussion after 5 seasons of Lamar Jackson in the NFL as if he's some kind of unknown or uncertain commodity is very confusing to me. Now, I do think that there are legitimate concerns about, at what point can he stop outrunning people and making people look less athletic on a field full of the best athletes that you've ever seen in your life, the best, football players in the history of these people's respective towns and cities and all these things. And he's just out there bobbing and weaving and making them all look stupid. I don't know how much longer that lasts, but it's almost like a different version of the Derrick Henry conversation. At what point does it tail off? It hasn't yet. But if you're tying up $200 million guaranteed in a guy like that, you want to have a decent idea of when it could.
So, but help me out here. Other than,
I don't think I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try.
Other than Lamar speaking for the first time, saying something substantial about his situation for the first time since this all started, I'm still struggling to figure out how this could change anything, how this could change the urgency of other teams potentially trying to acquire Lamar. Because I just truly don't see how it changes anything. Because the situation already was, if you were willing to meet his value, he's yours. So how does him saying, I requested a trade, Baltimore's not meeting my value, change anything in the eyes of other clubs?
Just makes it louder. I mean, ramps up the pressure on Baltimore. Now, Baltimore isn't in a spot where there's a tremendous amount of pressure because by nature of the non-exclusive franchise tag, like, they can't undermine. Lamar can't undermine his own value. because the value based on the tag is 2 first-round picks and the contract. So it's not like Lamar can tweet this. This is a good question by you, because it's not like Lamar tweeting this hurts the amount of draft capital that Baltimore will be able to get for Lamar. And Baltimore has done well to protect themselves from that. But it does make it louder. It's the lead story across everywhere.
It is the lead story because Lamar is the biggest, by far biggest question mark, especially since we think we have a resolution to the Aaron Rodgers thing. But I just don't know. Making it louder to me doesn't make that much of a difference. It was already pretty loud.
But if you are in a position where you only have so many kinds of cards that you can play, is this not the best option on the table as John Harbaugh pulls out his chair to sit down among swarms of NFL media as he gets ready to take his first question? Having a lovely day. He's probably had a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of coffee there in Phoenix. The sun's out. Vibes are high. Hey, John, have you seen Lamar's tweet this morning? And it all devolves into this massive bleep show. It does create an additional ramp up. It's an escalation. So you're asking me what it does. It's simply an escalation of the situation. It puts out there the idea that there is a less than tenable circumstance between Lamar Jackson and the club that currently owns his contract rights.
Yes, but I do think John Harbaugh is doing a good job of now de-escalating it because he has consistently answered every question with a cool smile on his face. Can't wait for Lamar to play for us in 2023. Negotiations are ongoing.
What's the Chris Rock animated zoo movie? You know what I'm talking about?
Madagascar?
Madagascar.
Oh, love Madagascar.
Smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave.
They're the Penguins.
That's the John Harbaugh strategy today. Smile and wave, boys. 615-737-1045. Where the hell's Lamar Jackson going to play football next season? Chuck in Clarksville is first. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Bud. Don't yell at me, but this is what my thought is.
Mm-hmm.
With the AFC South situation, Tyler, got Lawrence at Jacksonville. You're going to have Stroud and or Young in the South. I think the Titans will make a move eventually on Lamar, similar to the Rams Detroit move, where Tannehill goes to Baltimore and Lamar comes here. I don't think it'll be the same deal that the Rams Detroit had, but it'll be close, because I really think with the new stadium coming in, with Rand starting out, he's going to make a splash move, and this makes sense for a team like the Titans that are run-oriented and could use that type of big playability person to take them over the top in the next few years. So I think the Titans will make this move. I didn't for a while, but I do now. I think the Titans will make this move.
Well, thanks for the call, Chuck. Not for 2 first-round picks. So let me take this piece by piece, okay? Because, he makes a ton of sense here. He makes so much sense in Tennessee. The only place where I think it is a better fit and a better marriage for Lamar Jackson, his skill set, and personnel-wise, is Atlanta, who has already said and declared themselves out of the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes in ways that are mind-boggling to me. So Atlanta's off the table, theoretically. Now, new information could become available, and they may change their tune, but they're having their official team writers cite Diana Rossini reports about, the Falcons are good. Now, the Commanders are another wrinkle in all of this, where this is me rooting for anarchy here. How great would it be as Daniel Snyder gets escorted out of the Landover, Maryland facilities in handcuffs, that he hands out Lamar Jackson a fully guaranteed contract just to bleep all the other owners. That would be my dream scenario if Daniel Snyder just says, you know what? I can get back at you all these different kinds of ways. I've got blackmail on all of you, Jimmy Irsay, but you may not care. But you know what I'll do? I'll mess with your money. I'll give Lamar Jackson a fully guaranteed contract, because bleep you all as you send me to, federal prison in all likelihood. Ozzie Newsome, who is one of the biggest names associated with the Ravens franchise, he was asked about the Deshaun Watson contract, which is obviously the point of discussions and negotiations for Lamar, the fully guaranteed deal that Cleveland enticed Deshaun with to get him to reconsider being their quarterback, successfully so. So this was Ozzie Newsome's analysis. He's still in a role in the Ravens front office. He's not the active, the presiding GM anymore, but his voice obviously still carries great sway. This was his analysis of the situation.
Well, you know what? I'm always about this. Every club has to do what they have to do with contracts, with drafting. You know, I got enough problems dealing with this club that, you know what, I can't, I don't worry about what other people do. But, our owner, did say that, that contract did create some problems. What we have to figure out, is that going to be the norm or is that an outlier? And we don't know.
So right now it is the outlier. And NFL teams are actively fighting against making it the norm, the guaranteed deals. Now, the caller, Chuck brought up the Titans doing this deal. Again, I say to you, I think it makes a ton of sense. I think the 2 first-round picks are worth it if you believe he's your franchise quarterback. The idea of having a splash move for a new stadium that has zero basis in reality. They could trade for Lamar. They could give him a 3-year deal and Lamar not be here long enough to open the new Titan Stadium. 2026, the season, 2026, August of 2026, preseason, is when they were targeting the opening of the stadium. There's no shot in hell that happens. I would venture a guess to say 85% of the Titans roster is not going to see this new stadium. Okay, because I think 2026 is a pipe dream to begin with, and any delays beyond that where they haven't even broken ground on this thing. Has it passed Metro Council at this point? I haven't seen any updates on that. Maybe I haven't been following it as closely once free agency and combine stuff started, but last I saw it was still going through the voting process.
Yeah, that 2026 timeline is looking pretty tough.
Okay. Which is crazy because we had Burke Nihill, the Titans team president, and Mayor John Cooper on the radio show. I feel like, Lucas, both times we asked them, we basically gave them an out for the 2026. Be like, it's kind of aggressive, guys, don't you think? And they were committed to it, both of them, in lockstep. So, whatever. But like splash moves for the sake of trying to entice people to the new stadium, that's not a this year play. His circumstance becomes more complicated by the Jeff Simmons contract, the cap-strapped nature of what Tennessee currently is, and a 1-to-1 deal with Lamar. Because in theory, Tannehill wouldn't factor into the Lamar Jackson trade, right? Like Tannehill's not a sweetener for a situation where they're required to give up 2 first-round picks to get him. It's just the 2 first-round picks, right? Based on the nature of the non-exclusive franchise tag, like they're not just tossing in their quarterback.
Yeah, if they reach a deal with Lamar that the Ravens don't want to match, that's it. 2 first-round picks.
First-round picks. You don't have to trade Tannehill. Like Tannehill's not a part of a Lamar Jackson trade. So like I just a couple of points there that Chuck brought up that I feel need to be debunked. It's just the 2 first-rounders. Ryan Tannehill in a Lamar Jackson deal, there's nothing there. 2 first-round picks and a contract that the Ravens opt not to match. Those are the terms required to get Lamar Jackson under contract. And so we'll see which teams, if any, further materialize, because as of this morning, didn't seem to be the case. Dirty Bird calling us from the borough up next. What's happening?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Well, the Falcons, I'm going to tell you, man, we're happy with Desmond Ridder right now. We're not. We got Taylor Heineke for the little veteran backup to kind of help him out, but Ridder did terrific for us the last bit of the year coming in as a rookie, so we're good with him. But with this whole two number 1 draft picks for a guy that has in 2 seasons played 10 games. You're rolling the dice. Nobody's going to give 2 first-round draft picks for Lamar. And
you said, hang on one second, Dirty Bird. You said Lamar Jackson has played 10 games in 2 seasons?
Yeah, isn't it 22 games? He's played 10?
No,
sure.
Lamar Jackson has played in and started 12 games in each of the last 2 seasons.
In the last 2 seasons, okay. So what are the rest of those games, would that affect that team going to whatever team he goes to? If he played 12 games for that team, Tennessee, would they be able to make the playoffs when he got hurt again, if he got hurt again. I just think you're taking a big roll of the dice. That's why everybody's scared to sign him, is because, I mean, if he had never gotten hurt and he's played all of his games and he's lightning like he usually is, there's no problem. Somebody would have signed him immediately. But this whole hurt situation, nobody knows if he's going to be all year long or is he going to get hurt again. So, yeah, I understand why these teams aren't just jumping to go after him. He is a lightning great player, but if he gets hurt again, it just hurts you and your team, and you're trying to weigh that out. So I understand.
Thanks for the call. I mean, but isn't that every football player? That's what makes football so unique. Like, there is 100% chance that these guys are going to get hurt. Now, he's obviously more important and more covered and more, discussed, more scrutinized, Lamar is, than, say, a guy like, I don't know who, David Long. Okay, David Long.
I think let's not compare inside linebackers. Let's maybe pick out a quarterback.
No, but okay, so what was I guess football players in general, like them changing the rules, them doing more to protect the quarterbacks, them implementing things like the body weight rule on pass rushers and things like that. Like, that didn't do a damn bit of good to protect the quarterbacks more.
But yeah,
we saw more starting quarterbacks, or more quarterbacks start for teams this year than we have in damn near any other season.
Don't pretend like there's not an added risk with Lamar's style of play.
I'm not pretending anything. I'm taking the arguments that are presented to me, okay? The arguments presented to me is that a quarterback who's had injury situations is why teams aren't trading for him. Every damn quarterback is going to get hurt at some point, be it Ryan Tannehill, high ankle sprains, Jimmy G, broken feet. Lamar, I don't remember exactly what the nature of Lamar's injuries were last year. I believe it was an ankle situation as well. Maybe, Lucas, if you could find a more specific thing for me. But, that's every player in this sport, because it's insane what these people do on a field of play for a living. That's just what it is.
Yes, but when a running quarterback takes more hits and has missed more games than most of his colleagues over the last 2 years,
what evidence?
then it is
no,
more of a
You're
question
playing
mark.
into a different kind of narrative. What evidence do you have for me that Lamar Jackson takes more hits?
Oh, I don't. He's just a running quarterback.
Why was that brought up as a part of the discussion?
Because he's a running quarterback.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that he takes more hits. You're talking yourself into you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the narrative that's being painted. Running quarterback immediately takes more hits. Well, no. What evidence based on? What do you have something quantifiably that you can tell me that Lamar Jackson takes more hits than the average NFL quarterback?
No, I don't.
Russell Wilson was the same way. Russell Wilson had escapability. Russell Wilson did not ever get the doors blown off of him. Still doesn't, even as he has less mobility. So
it was a knee PCL for Lamar.
Okay, a knee. Thank you. But you see what I'm saying? Like, that is an unfair characterization of a player who who people make associations with based on the style of play. And if you're going to do that, I need quantifiable evidence. If teams are doing that, I need quantifiable evidence that is in fact the case. And not just something that you say because it's what people say about mobile quarterbacks.
You don't think that's a factor for teams right now?
I think all of these things are a factor. You are looking for more reasons to pay players less. It's like the draft process. You're looking for reasons not to take a player, right? You're dissecting these guys from the ground up. I'm looking for all the reasons why I shouldn't take you in late April. I'm looking for all the reasons why I shouldn't pay you. That's the nature of these negotiations. But it's legitimately infuriating to me. And I understand why people like Lamar take to social media, because how fair is that for Lamar Jackson?
I just think there are more reasons for a guy like Lamar. I think teams can come up with more reasons not to give him a long-term deal than most quarterbacks. The sustainability of his style of play, the availability over the last couple of years alone are two reasons that you can come up with more so than the likes of a Joe Burrow if he were in this same situation.
I don't disagree with you, but the premise that I do disagree with is that the availability of Lamar Jackson is affected currently, and to this point, not future, but to this point, has been affected by Lamar's style of play. That I do not accept.
Be interesting to go down to every injury that he suffered in his career and how it was suffered.
Well, and I think it's like interceptions.
Because I can't remember what knocked him out in 2021.
We can look this up and we can continue this conversation because obviously this is going to be the discussion amongst NFL markets everywhere. We're also NFL owners meetings are going on. By the way, Mike Vrabel has spoken to the media about Ryan Tannehill and Kevin Byard, among other things, and we'll play you comments from both Vrabel and Rand Carthon in just a little bit. But I do. Let's look up the injuries on the Lamar situation, and we can swing this back around because there's an AFC South team who's very desperate for a quarterback situation and has just been leapfrogged by the Carolina Panthers from trying to take one of the best ones in the draft. We can discuss the prospect of Lamar Jackson playing most likely in the AFC South if you had to put it by percentage for the Indianapolis Colts, and we'll get into his injury history if you want to do that coming up next. Welcome back to the show. So the Lamar Jackson situation, it's complicated. Where he ends up playing is going to be a fascination, and everybody's got an opinions on a player that I'm confused as to his polarization, but apparently Lamar Jackson is polarizing enough. You can jump in on the conversation if you would like to, 615-737-1045, or via Zone TV, where the show is live streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Charles Welbeck writes on YouTube, Lamar has to come to his senses on the guaranteed contract, and the Ravens have to figure out a way to make it work. Neither of those things has to happen. I hate that comment, first and foremost, because the idea that Lamar is the one that has to come to his senses on this thing. Since it's got nothing to do with coming to his senses, the market value for the quarterback position fundamentally changed when Jimmy Haslam decided that he needed to lure Deshaun Watson to Cleveland a second time around after Watson decided he wasn't interested in Cleveland the first time by offering him a fully guaranteed contract at the quarterback position. Kirk Cousins played it a different way, but was able to accomplish a similar situation where his agent looked around, and I was listening to Kirk Cousins on Bussin' with the Boys. It was a very good interview, the business of football from the player's perspective. And the idea that Kirk Cousins rightly predicted the quarterback market, so much so as to say, okay, let Washington tag you twice. Let him tag you twice. That's a 2-year fully guaranteed deal. That's the kind of thing that we're pushing for anyway. And if they won't come to the table a third time or try and make you a long-term offer, then we'll take our services elsewhere. And Minnesota ultimately gave Kirk Cousins a 3-year fully guaranteed deal.
Basically what Lamar's trying to do.
Correct. So don't tell me he needs to come to his senses. No, there are precedent, and there is a market value for the position. I don't care if the money gives you sticker shock or not. It's more money than most of us will see in our lifetimes, yes. Also, it doesn't matter. This is what these guys are worth because that's what people are telling them they're worth.
Coming to his senses is a bad way to put it.
I despise that.
Yes, he should absolutely go test that out. But at some point, he may have to concede something.
He may have to.
He may have to accept something that was not at the top of his head just a couple weeks ago.
There is a difference between concessions and coming to your senses. One implies that he is wrong for asking what he's asking for, when in no way, shape, or form is that the case. Rob in Nashville is next. Hey, Rob.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So, okay. Listening to you guys talk about Lamar Jackson, I think he would make it would make sense to bring him here because if you look at the way the Titans have been playing, we had Mariota, okay? He wasn't that good, but when Tannehill came on, the team got a little bit better. So now Tannehill, we see, he's a game manager. So now you got to get somebody that can win you the Super Bowl, try to get you to the Super Bowl. Now, Tannehill to me, he's always going to be, pretty decent quarterback, but he'll never get the Titans to where it is that they're trying to go to. So, with that being said, the Titans have got to have somebody on this team, somebody that could possibly get them to a Super Bowl before they even look at any other positions, because the quarterback, it starts with the quarterback ability. That's all I got, guys. Thanks.
Thank you for the call, Rob. I think Ryan Tannehill can win a Super Bowl. I think a great many quarterbacks can win a Super Bowl, and, it's just a matter of do things go right? Are you lucky enough, and is your team around them good enough? I don't think, I think that's another one of those hamster wheel type arguments around the ability of a quarterback to so far and above elevate your team, unless you are Patrick Mahomes, who seems to be one of one in today's NFL. I think that's a bit of a wasted exercise. Now, on principle, I understand. Do I think Lamar Jackson gives the Titans, if they were to figure out a way to do a deal here, do I think that gives them a better chance to win a Super Bowl than Ryan Tannehill? Yeah, he's a higher level player. But I think, the idea that Ryan Tannehill isn't capable or Jimmy Garoppolo, who's made a Super Bowl, isn't capable, or all these different things, given the circumstances and what we've seen from NFL teams in years past, that you need to do this just because of a Super Bowl or because you think that Ryan Tannehill has some ceiling that you can't perceive. I don't necessarily agree with that assessment. All right, we will get into Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. They are speaking at the owners' meeting. 615-737-1045 is how you join the discussion here as well. We are going to play some of the comments that they had at the media breakfast this morning. Quick reminder, 1045 The Zone's 2023 Spring Golf Classic presented by Ferguson HVAC is coming up April the 10th, Greystone Golf Club. Only one team remains, apparently. So purchase it now before it's gone. To purchase, visit 1045thezone.com. Now, Lucas has said something in my ear while the last caller was on the line. Apparently, there has been a situation in Nashville as we pivot, unfortunately, away from sports. This is from breaking the Nashville Fire Department. We are responding to an active aggressor at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard Covenant School. We can confirm we have multiple patients. Parents coming to the school should go to 20 Burton Hills at this time. This is an active scene. An incident at this school in Nashville apparently has left multiple people wounded, according to the Nashville Fire Department. It is being described as a mass casualty alert at St. Paul Christian School in Nashville. All hospitals are on full alert for incoming at this point. That's as much information as we have on the circumstance here locally. As more comes available, and if you guys have insights on what's going on in the community, I don't necessarily know how to do a sports talk radio show around a situation like that. But if we need to pivot into a news gathering situation, I think we're going to keep doing that throughout the course of the day. So if that is applicable to you, hopefully hopefully your loved ones are safe in this circumstance. If that is new information and that is relevant to you, that you're able to do what you need to do in that spot. I'm sorry, I don't know necessarily how to discuss these kind of things, but that's obviously horrifying to hear. You see it happen all over the country, and you never think it's going to happen in your part of the world or in your neighborhood or in your school or something like this. But we'll do our best to get more information for you and to keep you guys informed on the situation that's going on here in Nashville that is being described as an active scene. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone.
It is 11:01 from the Superbook.com news desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Multiple reports that there is a mass casualty alert in Nashville, a school shooting at St. Paul Christian School with multiple victims down. The Nashville Fire Department tweeting about 7 minutes ago that a reunification area has been established at 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. That is Woodmont Baptist Church for parents to meet their children who attend the Covenant School at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. Peyton Kennedy of WKRN News 2 tweeting 15 minutes ago, officers are letting News 2 know that at least 4 people, including a shooter, are dead at the Covenant School at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. We will continue to update this as we get more information. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome into hour number 2 of the show. You heard Lucas's update. Obviously, our priority this morning is not sports. It is difficult to do the kind of show that we typically do around this situation where an active aggressor has been reported at the St. Paul's Academy, St. Paul's Christian Academy, in Green Hills. We are trying to keep you guys aware of the situation and keep you informed as much as humanly possible. At this point, there is not a ton of information available, and so we ask that you guys bear with us as we work our way through and try and get you the latest news. This is from the Nashville Fire Department. A reunification area, as you heard Lucas mention, has been established at 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. That's Woodmont Baptist Church for parents to meet their children who attend the Covenant School at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. Peyton Kennedy, who is reporting for WKRN News 2, saying that officers are telling us at least 4 people, including a shooter, are dead at the Covenant School at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. She sends that tweet at 10:48 this morning while they are apparently en route to the scene. Metro Nashville Police Department is saying that the active shooter event has taken place at Covenant School, Covenant Presbyterian Church on Burton Hills Drive. The shooter was engaged by Metro Nashville PD and is confirmed dead. Student reunification with parents is at Woodmont Baptist Church, 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. So that's courtesy of at MNPD Nashville on Twitter. People are asking questions about, are there multiple shooters? Because it was described as a shooter, but MNPD saying the shooter, which would indicate that is the lone shooter, was engaged by Metro Nashville Police Department and is dead at this point. But again, we have as much information as you guys do right now. We are going to endeavor to get somebody on the radio show who is covering this horrifying event at the scene. For us, we are. I asked Lucas this as the music was playing, because it's a happy sports talk radio show. Is Lamar Jackson going to be with the Ravens next season kind of vibe? And I said to him as the music was playing, how the hell do we do this? Because I don't necessarily know how to have a conversation around this other than to inform you guys about what is going on. I'm not interested in having, gun rights discussions. I'm not going anywhere near that kind of stuff today. I have no interest in being a part of those discussions, especially while this situation is ongoing, because the latest on this was that it was an active shooter event, which until such time as I see that the situation is under control, or that the reporting is that the situation is under control. I'm going to assume that there are still parts of this that are ongoing because this happened very, very quickly while we were on the air for the first hour of the show today. So, again, I ask you guys to bear with us. It may seem redundant because we're probably going to bring this up in some form or fashion in every segment. We want to make sure that for people who are just now hearing this, that they're aware of the circumstance. If you have people who are at the Covenant Presbyterian Church and the Covenant School on Burton Hills Drive, to try and get you there or get you informed as quickly as humanly possible, 2100 Woodmont Boulevard is the student reunification spot at the Woodmont Baptist Church as Metro Nashville Police and Fire try and work their way through this at this time. So the facts are the focus this morning, and how, I can't even begin to process the kind of pain that must go through somebody's mind or hearts or soul when they hear this and just not knowing anything that's going on or beyond the bare minimum, which is about as much as we're receiving right now.
Here's what we know. Multiple casualties reported. There's been a massive police response. Metro Nashville PD has stated that the gunman was shot dead by responding officers, and the ages of victims are unknown. You mentioned Peyton Kennedy of News 2 saying 4 dead, and I believe that includes the shooter, but the age of the victims are unknown. Covenant School is preschool through 6th grade. Ugh.
But see, I think that we're trying to I'm trying to figure out how to process this, right? Because I'm not going to sit up here and speak for you guys. I wouldn't do that. You guys know our circumstance around here on the show. You know that we are we do not have children as a show, and that for me to try and verbalize what it must be for a parent, other than, the obvious human emotion and terror and all the different things, the rush of feelings that must come into a person's head, the adrenaline that takes over, the flight or fight response. I don't know how to properly articulate that. I think that when you hear preschool through 6th is so heartbreaking, though.
Okay, Kelsey Gibbs, News Channel 5, says that they are on their way to Nashville Covenant School. Active shooter event has taken place. Gibbs says the shooter was engaged by Metro Nashville PD and is dead, and that they know students were shot. So the next step here is...
I'm sorry, say that last line again?
Kelsey Gibbs of News Channel 5 reporting that they know students were shot.
They know, as in K-N-O-W.
O-W,
not
yes.
N-O,
they know.
were shot.
They know that students were shot, yes. That is what happened. The next step here is finding out the age.
So, as that happens, we will keep you updated with the latest information. I mean, are we going to do show around this? I don't know how we realistically can, but there's no way for us until we have somebody who's at the scene who may, in the midst of trying to do their job and get you guys this information, may be able to join us at some point in the course of the next, we'll call it an hour and 50 minutes that we are still on the air.
Yeah, we're working on getting somebody on the scene to join us and give us some perspective.
So until such time as we're able to accommodate that, or somebody is able to help us out that way, I don't know that we can advance the story realistically. Here's what I will say, though, and this is the thing that bothers me. Thoughts and prayers is something that gets uttered an awful lot around these things. And while I do think that comes from a place of genuine good amongst people who offer that as condolences, it is hard for me to accept the thoughts and prayers element of this, where words are uttered and, again, situations like this just continue to happen. Again, this is not a position on, open care. I don't even know enough about those things to have intelligent conversations or to try and formulate an intelligent opinion on it. So I'm not going to do that here with you today. That is not a productive version of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. What we're trying to accomplish is to make sure that this situation is handled delicately and informatively with the facts that we have, not an influx of opinion on what it is that has just happened in our city as it has in so many other cities around this country. More so in this country than anywhere else around the world, but that is not a discussion for us to have here.
Fire department stating that their medics are treating multiple patients, so there are multiple victims other than the reported dead. And again, that reunification area is 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. That is Woodmont Baptist Church for parents to meet their children who attend the Covenant School.
Okay. We're gonna break here. We're gonna see how much more information and if we can reach out to somebody at the scene where this is taking place at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard, the Covenant School in the Green Hills part of Nashville here in Middle Tennessee. We will keep you informed. We will keep you updated. If you guys have any information that you feel would be relevant, it's just like I don't want to say that it's just like that because obviously the loss of life here, the reported loss of life here, 4 lives apparently, makes this a very, very difficult thing to wade through. But I will say, if you do have pertinent information, please don't hesitate to call in just as if this was a weather situation, 615-737-1045, because you guys are out there, you guys are on the streets and things like that, and we want to try and make sure that we get the most relevant information to people in a time of legitimate crisis like this. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to 104.5 The Zone. Buck Rising here with you until 1 o'clock. This is a sports station. We are a sports show. Today's news locally is not about sports. Thus, we have pivoted as quickly as humanly possible to news gathering, and we appreciate everybody who has reached out, everybody who is doing journalism on the situation, the active shooter event this morning at a Nashville school. A shooter engaged by police reportedly dead at the Covenant School, 33 Burton Hills Boulevard, this morning at about 10:30, a little less than an hour ago. The fire department has issued a statement confirming that they have multiple patients. Parents coming to the school should go to 20 Burton Hills at this time. It's an active scene, as is being described, and the Tennessee Department of Transportation is reporting that a portion of Harding Place will be closed for those of you who are in the area in Green Hills. Student reunification with parents who have a child at this school, Woodmont Baptist Church, 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. Apparently, parents don't have much information at this time. Having never covered one of these things in person, having only seen coverage of them on local and national nightly news and things of that nature, I imagine it is incredibly chaotic. It does sound like the shooter has been neutralized by Metro Nashville PD, so thank God that
they've confirmed that he's been neutralized.
So confirmed that he is reported dead.
Metro Nashville Police Department confirmed that he is dead in a firefight exchanged with police officers.
And we don't have information as to, the age, any information on the shooter at this point. But as information becomes available, we will do our best to update you. We have contacted several of the different local TV stations who are on their way to the scene. As soon as we are able to get somebody to provide context from the scene, we will do so for you. Lee is calling us from Green Hills. I believe Lee has information on things that are shut down around the area. Lee, how are you? Hope you're well this morning.
Hey guys, it's a scary morning. I got 3 little boys, man, sitting in elementary school right now in Wilson County, so it's pretty horrible. But we were on Golf Club Lane right there in Green Hills, and they are shutting it all down. Even getting back onto 440, they're now shutting down the exit to get on to I think it's exit 1 is the first exit off of 440, and they're shutting those down as well, so you can't get to that exit. And that's about all I got. They were sending buses and police were passing us as we were leaving, heading out. So I'm assuming all those buses were going to pick up the kids. But there must have been 15 of them that passed us headed towards the scene.
Lee, thank you so much for the information. We appreciate the call and hope you and yours continue to stay safe on this just tragic day.
So we mentioned the reunification area for parents and children that go to the Covenant School is Woodmont Baptist Church. Olivia Michael, News Channel 5, has tweeted out a picture of the traffic that's backed up on Hillsborough Pike on the way to Woodmont Baptist Church. So if folks are trying to get there, and if there's any alternate routes that you know of,
consider alternative routes, definitely.
Hillsborough Pike is really backed up right now.
And for that reason, I would say if you are somebody who is not who is in the Green Hills area, who is not, on their way to the reunification spot or is directly involved or connected to this situation and to the people affected, the police are currently asking for people to stay out of the area as much as humanly possible because of the congestion that it will understandably cause with roads shut down and Green Hills traffic being what it is under normal circumstances. The priority has to be reuniting parents with children who are able to make it safely out of the scene again for people. Because I want to make sure that I'm clarifying here. There are students who have been shot. There are 4 people who are reported dead, including the shooter at this time who engaged was engaged by Metro Nashville Police at this point. Jay Harper from WTN is going to join us at this point to give us more information. Again, facts are what we are after in this situation, and Jay is going to join us in the studio right now. If you have relevant information, if you're in the Green Hills area, Jay, if you want to just pop down right there and pull that microphone over to you, Lucas will get you up and running. We appreciate you coming in this morning under fairly dire circumstances. What do we know at this point, Jay? And what are you guys learning in the news gathering mode that we are all currently in?
Well, Bud, yeah, it is definitely an unfortunate situation. About an hour ago in the WTN newsroom, we started getting bits and pieces from the public, frankly, that something was going on near Covenant School off of Hillsborough Road. And, there were a lot of first responders and such. But what we know now is that an active shooter situation did take place a little over an hour ago, and Metro Nashville PD did engage the shooter. Now, this was at Covenant School, is where the active shooter situation occurred, according to Nashville police. The shooter was engaged, and the shooter is deceased. They, however, still have many areas closed off. They've got a helicopter in the air. I believe it is I-440 westbound has been closed off at Hillsborough Pike. The area around Harding Place and Burton Hills Drive, that entire area is still cordoned off, as they are trying to determine, again, this is still a very fluid situation.
Right.
They're trying to determine if perhaps there were additional shooters, additional folks involved. So those areas are still being cleared, if you will. There is, again, just a very active situation. And, perhaps when I get back to the newsroom, I can have more updates, and I'll be, of course, come back in here and update folks as best we can.
Jay, we greatly appreciate you doing so, understanding that everybody is in scramble mode at this point. So as new information becomes available, and as you are available to deliver it to not just the WTN audience, but here with us on 104.5 The Zone, we greatly appreciate you doing so. It's we are all in news gathering or information gathering mode at this point, and precious little information has become available, given that this was a situation that just started, it seems, happened about an hour ago.
Right.
And we here as well, we're starting to get calls from people who informed us of the situation before we saw it break on social media.
Right. And parents that maybe, believe me, I know parents are scrambling, trying to get to their children if they are at Covenant School, if they're students there. A reunification location for parents is at Woodmont Baptist Church. That's at 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. So again, as we do learn more information, we'll certainly pop in and update as best we can.
Jay Harper of WTN, kind enough to join us in studio. Jay, thank you, and we will call upon your services, unfortunately, again, at some point before we are off the air today at 1 o'clock, and I'm sure we will continue to do so with Blaine and Mickey and 3HL as more information becomes available. Jay Harper with WTN, providing us news information on the active shooter situation that Metro Nashville police have been able to neutralize. At least one, we don't know that there were more than one shooter, but a shooter has been neutralized and confirmed dead by Metro Nashville PD. So trying to avoid any kind of speculation at this point. What do we know about the traffic situation in Green Hills right now, Lucas?
Yeah, Rebecca Hammonds, the Tennessee Department of Transportation, tweeting, in response to the Covenant School shooting, we have closures in place at the following: the northbound lanes of Harding Place at Hillsborough Pike and east and westbound I-440 off-ramps at Exit 3 for Hillsborough Pike. So really anywhere in that area, Hillsborough Pike and Green Hills, there's a lot of congestion right now if you are trying to get to that reunification area.
So as Jay said, that is as much information as we currently have at this point. For parents, for the sake of the parents and for the children who they are trying to reunite at Woodmont Baptist Church, for those of you who are in the Green Hills area, if it is not necessary for you to be in that part of town, they are trying to alleviate as much congestion as humanly possible as they continue to close off the area and try and secure the scene beyond what has already been secured with Metro Nashville PD and fire at the scene of the Covenant School after a shooting incident this morning here in Middle Tennessee.
News Channel 5 reporting of the 4 people shot, 3 are children. Here's the update from News Channel 5. This is the tweet. 3 children shot, shooter dead at the Covenant School on Monday.
But no information as to whether the 3...
Here's what the story says. Sources state that 3 children were shot. There is no word on the state of their injuries at this time. We do know the shooter is dead. Metro Nashville PD have confirmed that. We know 3 children have been shot per sources given to News Channel 5, and there is no word on the state of their injuries.
So that I guess becomes my next question.
Yeah.
Because the initial tweet that we read from Peyton Kennedy at Channel 2 said that 4 people had been confirmed dead. That did not distinguish 4 people and the shooter, or including the shooter.
It did not. It did not distinguish.
Okay. So that is I think the next step in this. And it does seem that there will be a press conference at some point once they have effectively worked out the details. They obviously can't put anybody up there in front of a microphone to disseminate information to the media until they have confirmation of, the injuries, the casualties, names, ages. God only knows how they're going to be able to locate people in any kind of coherent fashion, because I imagine as soon as this happens, you just scatter and you try and figure out, safety and all these different things.
Yeah, a lot of parents on the road in the area right now, running down the road, standing with media, waiting to be reunited with their children. I'll reread Peyton Kennedy's tweet from 43 minutes ago.
Please do.
Says, officers are telling us at least 4 people, including a shooter, are dead at the Covenant School at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. So
okay. Peyton
reporting 4 dead, including the shooter. News Channel 5 has reported 3 children have been shot, but has no details on the state of their injuries.
All right. As that becomes available, we will get that to you as quickly as humanly possible. In just from our perspective, and I don't know the details on this, given the frequency that this seems to happen, but that it almost always seems to be a school is the thing that shakes you up the most. Like, the most innocent among us are the ones who seem to be the most effective or affected by these circumstances in ways that just, it makes you sick to your stomach. And I say, because I feel like we're going to keep you're going to hear a lot of the same information, and we'll add new information as it becomes available. But I am going to continue to preface this by saying that this is not a statement of opinion, that or at least that I'm espousing what I'm trying to say here, because I'm having a hard time getting it across.
We will stay posted for a press conference. Metro Nashville PD has tweeted where the media staging area will be, 1A Burton Hills Boulevard. So you imagine that at some point there will be a news conference to update the public on everything, and when that point comes, we will carry it.
We'll carry it live here on 104.5 The Zone, as I'm sure WTN will as well, and as Jay and his colleagues down the hall from us at our sister station there continue to gather more information from the WTN newsroom, and as we try and make more contact with people who are doing the reporting on the ground. We will try and get you the most recent information. I guess the question becomes, all right, where do we go show-wise and what comes next? Because for me to try and pivot into what Mike Vrabel had to say at the NFL owners meeting seems to be a fairly fruitless endeavor. You'll forgive me if I have a hard time trying to take this thing to sports today, as long as this is still out there. Now, I would ask you, and here's the thing that I will ask you, because we're trying to work through this as quickly and as efficiently as as effectively as you are. As you see information, because many of you are calling the radio station or putting things in the Zone TV chat at a rapid fire rate in ways that I'm not able until I get to a break to effectively cross-check and reference that. I would ask you to try and be discerning in this so that we do not get muddled and mixed messages. What did you just say, Lucas?
Rep Brian has been watching News 2 coverage, and they have confirmed on the air, not on social media, that 3 children are dead. And there's no current threat to public safety. The shooter's been shot, as Metro Nashville PD officially stated, but that is confirmed by News 2. 4 dead, including the shooter and 3 children.
Okay. I started this segment by saying that I don't want to say that it bothers me when people say things like are just utter the words, even though they have meaning behind them. And, depending on your religious background, that can mean a great deal to some more than other people who just say, at this time, we'd like to offer our condolences, our thoughts, and our prayers, because it seems that the thoughts and the prayers get offered, and then, these situations just to continue to occur. And I guess that's the helplessness in all of it. That's the thing that's the thing that I think frustrates beyond the loss of life, is the helplessness to it. Why do these things happen? And grappling with the situation of, well, how could this happen to us? Or how could this happen to our city? Or how could this happen to my family or my friends, or all of these things? That helplessness, because what else do you do besides say, we keep these families in our minds and in our hearts today, and then try and find ways to support them outside of that. But that, I think, is the thing that bothers me the most, is that what do you do? What can you do without turning it into a discussion that immediately is just barbed wire around the political implications of discussions about guns, which is something that I have zero interest in having today, or in almost any circumstance, any day, because for what? People's minds don't change about these things. It just feels like people get more and more entrenched in their position. So at a certain point, it's one of these, I tend to use the phrase hamster wheel arguments, but the loss of life among so many children, pre-K through 6th, are the ages that are at this school, and 3 of those lives have been lost before they've even had the opportunity to have lives, truly.
Again, all we can do right now is continue to gather information. Woodmont Baptist Church. It's the reunification
that's the
area.
Reunification situation.
So
Thank you for
that's not only for parents looking to reunite their children, because I imagine majority of parents looking to do that know that by now, but that's for people to clear that area and allow as little congestion as possible, allowing parents to get there.
Please do. 615-737-1045 if you are in the area, if you have anything to update us with on closings in the area or anything that you are seeing from the scene. You can reach us on Twitter at Buck Rising, at Lucas Panzica, at 1045 The Zone, and information that is relevant and factual we will disseminate to everybody as soon as humanly possible, and hope to have more updates from our colleagues at WTN and local TV stations that are there in attendance for the coverage of the story, and of course the corresponding press conference that we anticipate later this afternoon. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone. Welcome back. We are currently covering a situation at the Covenant School in Green Hills. 3 children dead at an active shooter scene at the Covenant School. The shooter is dead at this point, neutralized by Nashville Metro Police Department. The fire and police department are on site. 33 Burton Hills Boulevard is the location of the Covenant School where the incident has taken place. There is not an active threat to public safety at this time, as is being disseminated by Metro Nashville PD and the student reunification site for parents and children and for people who are not parents of these children but are trying to make sure that the parents can get there to stay clear of the area. Woodmont Baptist Church, 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. Now, we are going to break in to News Channel 4. WSMV has a reporter on the scene. It's the first one that I've seen right now who is disseminating information live to the scene. So we go now to WSMV's live coverage.
Let's talk about that for a second, Michael, because we do know that a staging site has been set up for media. Typically, that indicates that emergency officials are getting organized with the immediate response so that they can start sharing information with the general public. So we do expect to learn a little bit more as authorities get more organized on the ability to share more details about what we're up against here. We do know the threat is over, but to your point, Michael, do we have more patients from this shooting, this school shooting, there at the hospital? And that's the big question mark right now.
That's the big question, and we want to share accurate information, and that's what I was told by Kylie Avery with the hospital, is that they're getting talking with their colleagues, because it is, it's a crazy scene, and when there's so much panic and so much anxiety as it comes to a scene like this, you want to get accurate information out there. So I know they're not rushing to get out this number, and there could be more patients who are arriving at the hospital. That's a fear as well. So earlier, when I was down there, the reason that they had us across the street on the sidewalk is because they didn't want anybody blocking the emergency room entrance. So they wanted us out of the way so police and first responders and ambulances that were arriving would have an easy access into the emergency room, given the urgency of this situation. So we are waiting for that total number. It's our fear that this number will not go up as to the deceased and as to the injured. But as soon as we do know, we'll let you know.
All right, Michael, thank you for the very latest. We'll be checking back in with you. We want to also let you folks know we're hearing from our other crews, also our photojournalists who are out on the scene. And one of our photojournalists, Jared, just let us know he saw 2 school buses that were full of the children just passed by. And one of the buses, that first one, had a police officer in the front with a long gun in hand. Obviously, everybody, at this point, just trying to figure out what all has happened. We're trying to reunite and get you folks the important information so that we can have all these children reunited with their families. And if you're just joining us, again, the heartbreaking news out of all of this is that 3 children are confirmed dead. They were killed by this shooter who was engaged by Metro Police there at the Covenant School there in Green Hills area, and we know that the shooter is dead.
All right, we're getting an update from police in about 15 minutes here. So as we thought, as they begin to organize that staging area for the media, we are getting closer to learning more about what happened here, how many victims we have, who's still being treated at the hospital, and what comes next in this investigation. Carly Gordon is following some of the police response for us as well. You've been in touch with the TBI. You've been keeping us updated, Carly, on the ATF's response here and the DA's response as well.
Right, so I'm now hearing from officers within the department, and they are telling me that this is an all hands on deck sort of situation. Of course, we're told that detectives, lieutenants, cars, they're all being pulled from all precincts. They want to make sure that this situation is handled thoroughly and appropriately. Ultimately, this will be a Midtown case, and we know homicide detectives are on the scene there as well. And then just to talk to you a little bit about our process, there are several people that we are still waiting to hear from. I have text messaged the chief of police at the Metro Police Department. He usually gets right back to me, and so far we haven't heard from him. The mayor of Nashville, he is retweeting the fire department right now, but so far he has not come out with a statement. Also, Metro Schools, we haven't heard from, and then Covenant School itself. But I do want to share with you on the school's website, Covenant School, it says the beauty of school is in its simplicity and innocence. That's right there on the website. And just to read that and know what's happened there today is just really tough.
We're getting actually video from inside of the reunification site there at Woodmont Baptist Church, and we'll share that with you in a moment. But first,
we've had Stacey Cameron, who is new with us here at WSMV4 with our investigative team. All right, he is now joining us live with the very latest. So tell us exactly where you are, what are you seeing, and what are you learning?
Well, we're at the Woodmont Baptist Church. This is where Metro Police have asked parents to come to be reunified with their children, to be reunited. We've been here for about 5 minutes. It's just at the corner of Hillsborough and Woodmont. We've seen at least a dozen groupings of parents coming up to the church here, understandably running, frantically looking to get inside and see if their children are okay, to get word. We've seen at least 3 fathers coming out with their children in hand, young children around kindergarten, if you had to guess what their ages were. Of course, we've heard that that school with about 200 students is a pre-K through 6th grade. So the kids that we've seen coming out with the parents have been 3, carrying them out from a back parking lot. You can see right here one of the parents right now getting ready to run up into the church. This is one of the main doors of the church where we've seen those groups of parents coming and running to check on their parents. Now, earlier we were over on the parking lot, but because of the sensitivity of this situation, a sergeant with Metro Police asked us if we would come back across the street. Of course, understanding the difficulty and the concern of these parents, we came back over here to report with you. But again, we've been on the scene for about 5 minutes. We've seen and heard several emergency vehicles with their lights on, police and fire, ambulance, leaving this area, going back to the Covenant School area. That's only about 2 miles from where we are now. And then again, several groups of parents, you can see some right now showing up to the church to come in, hopefully to be reunited with their parents. We'll continue to stay here on the scene, see if we can possibly talk with some parents or coming or learning any more information. But right now, we're live at the reunification scene at Woodmont Baptist Church.
That is WSMV live coverage of the shooting situation at Covenant School in Green Hills. 3 children dead. The shooter neutralized by Metro Nashville PD and confirmed dead as of right now. We'll continue to keep you updated with the information. Metro Nashville PD is expected to make an update. Don Aaron, the police department's spokesperson, will deliver that information about 15 minutes from now. We'll keep you updated with the latest as it becomes available to us. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
It is 11:59 from the Superbook.com news desk. I'm Lucas Panzika, keeping you updated on the situation in Green Hills. Here's what we know. There's been a shooting this morning at St. Paul Christian School in Nashville. 4 have been confirmed dead so far, including 3 children and the shooter, who was neutralized by Metro Nashville Police Department. There is a reunification address at Woodmont Baptist Church for parents to reunite with their children that attend St. Paul Christian School. That is 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. Again, Woodmont Baptist Church, the reunification area for parents and all other general public asked to avoid that area and limit congestion so parents can get there to 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. There is no current threat to public safety. We are likely to hear from Metro Nashville Police Department in a news conference shortly, and we will carry it right here on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome into hour number 3. Obviously, today is not a normal show. There are a lot of things happening. A tragedy has occurred in Green Hills here in Nashville, and we are keeping you updated with the latest. Sports takes a back seat for obvious reasons. After a shooting at the Covenant School this morning at about 10:30 is when it was reported, 33 Burton Hills Boulevard in the Green Hills area. 3 children have been confirmed dead by Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. The shooter has been confirmed by Nashville PD as dead after engaging with police. And Metro Nashville Police are saying that there is no active threat to public safety at this time. Reunification, as you heard Lucas said, the site at present is at the Woodmont Baptist Church. Parents lined up in the sanctuary of Woodmont Baptist Church are being asked to give their first and last names of the children to police. And they are currently trying to pass out bottled water and supplies to parents and family members who are awaiting reunification at this time. Officials have said that children would be arriving on school buses with their teachers to the site. Channel 4 is reporting that 2 more have been killed as we break in live to their coverage with our friends at WSMV who are on the scene. Lucas, you're not hearing that courtesy of Channel 4.
No, where have you seen that?
Philip Noel, our friend at Titans Radio, has just texted us saying Channel 4 now reporting that 2 adults are also dead, totaling 6 victims.
Okay, I'm seeing it on the Super now on channel. Let's tune in.
Are still out there. Who is the person? Who is the perpetrator? What was their motive? Why would something like this happen today?
Yeah, and I think when you hear that, you kind of take that deep breath every time, just trying to absorb that information. All of us who are parents, especially those of us that have kids in schools right now, we're all thinking the same thing. We're all thinking about our own kids and how could this happen. But now to know that 2 adults have also passed as a result of this, just it's kind of like one gut punch after another. It's hard enough when you hear about children passing away from a shooting like this, but then when you also think of, parents, are adults rather, staff members, what happened? And then, of course, they're going to have to explain this to all these parents. And so if you're just now joining us again, we are at the Reunification Center here at the Woodmont Church. This is just down the street, logistically, from where the school shooting happened at the Covenant School. What we are witnessing here are parents literally running into the school, trying to get information. At the door right now, we've been watching this. It's staff. It's security. There are police officers. A lot of the parents have run and gone around the back through the side entrance here. And so we have seen that, and a lot of parents just saw a couple parents with tears in their eyes, and obviously so.
Right. So there's a couple of things that you see on people's faces. You see, number one, relief on their faces because they're about to be reunified with their children. But there's also fear. And, Jeremy, we're getting the information that before these parents even know it. So that's part of what we're doing here. We're bringing you the information that we have and we see. So as more things develop, we will be bringing that to you here from the Reunification Center. Amanda, Holly.
All right, Lauren and Jeremy there. Just confirming again, 2 adults dead. We also want to check into the hospital.
Yeah, Michael Wark is continuing our live coverage from Vanderbilt. Michael, what's the latest there that you can share with us?
We had feared the death toll would climb in this case, and we have just learned that along with the 3 children who were pronounced dead here at the Children's Hospital, 2 adults have been confirmed dead at the adult hospital. This is the news we had feared. We are hoping that no more people are hurt, but the media person here at the hospital had pulled us over and said along with those 3 children that 2 adults have been declared deceased. All of those dead were killed by gunshot wounds, or at least a gunshot wound. So that is the latest here. It is a somber scene here at the hospital. We know there are some families inside who are just hearing the worst possible news. We do not know if these adults were associated with the school. It is our belief that is probably the case. So just a terrible day for Covenant, and we are still waiting to hear how many more people are injured. I've asked that question several times, but the hospital is trying to get out accurate information and just don't have a count at this hour as to how many people were hurt past the 5 people who are now dead. Back to you guys.
Again, just trying to find out, get more answers to our questions, trying to find out if there are any other injuries. And again, the very latest number. Now we're talking about 3 children have died, and we know 2 adults have died. And we just heard that was confirmed through gunshot wounds, unfortunately.
All right, let's touch base with Courtney. She's been watching the scene for us as we continue to see parents who've clearly left work, dropped everything to get straight to their children. Courtney, walk us through the latest from the scene there.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of people dropped everything that they were doing today to get to this school. One of them was the family of a teacher at this school. We just interviewed her daughter, and we're working to turn that sound for you so you guys can hear from her directly, but I can summarize the conversation. She says that her mom has been a teacher at this school, a pre-K teacher, for 10 years. And she texted her husband this morning and told him there's an active shooter at the school. Tell the kids that I love them. Can you imagine that being your spouse or your mother texting your family to tell them that she loved you, knowing that there is an active shooter at her place of work? I think of my own mom, and I just don't have words. The teacher, her mother, she said that her and her kids ran into the closet. They hid. They heard several gunshots. She described it as popping off all around the school. Couldn't tell where they were coming from. Couldn't tell if they were next. But thankfully, the woman that we spoke with, she says that her mom touched base with her to let her know that she and her children did make it out of the school alive. But you can only imagine the trauma that they've experienced this morning and that they are going to continue to grapple with, especially knowing now that 2 adults are confirmed dead, the shooter is dead, and 3 children are dead. It's absolutely heartbreaking, but the woman that we spoke with says that her mother was just thankful, obviously, that they made it out alive, and she said that she's holding those children so tight on the bus ride to the Reunification Center, at that center, while she waits for their parents to pick them up, take them home. And we know that the teacher's family is so thankful that she is coming home this afternoon. We know that's not the case for everyone at this school today.
Such imagery in that story,
Holly.
too. Such imagery in that story, too, Courtney, as you describe what she experienced hiding in that closet with children as gunfire erupted all around her. You're live on the scene, and we see that we've got armed officers who are essentially lining the road there. Heavy police presence as this area is blocked off for what we would perceive as the unfolding investigation. How many crews, if you're still with us, Courtney, are you able to see in that general vicinity?
So there's definitely still several police cars on scene. There's 2 trucks that indicate that the road is closed. There's a lot less traffic in and out of here than there was about an hour ago. Most of the traffic coming in and out now is law enforcement. We have seen SWAT team members in the woods along the road here coming out of the bushes, fully armed. And so this is still a very, very active scene. However, we really haven't seen any more parents coming to this area. It's really just law enforcement. I think you can see some officers walking towards us now, but closer to the school, there's obviously a much heightened law enforcement presence, several more units. We can't get to that vantage point to show you right now because Metro Police has asked us to take a step back, so we're respecting, their wishes during this investigation. But I can tell you there's still a lot going on out here right now.
Well, earlier we were hearing Metro Police were saying, quote, all hands on deck. So this would be handled thoroughly. This would be handled appropriately. Everything from ATF, the TBI, Metro Police, Courtney just describing the armed SWAT team members, fire department. We know the DA's out there. We're also hearing from Governor Lee now.
Yeah, let's get to his quote in just a second. If you want to pull that up, Holly, and get ready.
So you're listening to live coverage of WSMV on the scene, who has been covering the shooting situation at the Covenant School on Burton Hills Boulevard in Green Hills. Again, 3 children, 2 adults reported as or confirmed as dead, and additionally, the shooter confirmed as dead after engaging with Metro Nashville PD. There is a press conference scheduled that will take place here in the next few minutes. We will carry that live for you here on 104.5 The Zone, and we will continue to keep you updated. We have statements from Governor Bill Lee this morning, as well as several other political actors in the state of Tennessee. From Bill Lee, I am closely monitoring the tragic situation at Covenant, and the Tennessee Department of Safety and Tennessee Highway Patrol are assisting local law enforcement at first responders at the scene. We continue to respond. As we continue to respond, please join us in praying for the school congregation and the Nashville community. Again, the school where this incident has taken place, the Covenant School, a private Christian school in Nashville, in Green Hills, located at 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. The reunification site is currently Woodmont Baptist Church, where officials are saying that children are being bused to the site with their teachers to be reunited with families at this time. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking. It's a tragic situation that happens far too often in a way that I think that societally we may be numb to until it hits us this close to home. And you see things, places, people that you're familiar with affected on the news in ways that, just watching, currently we have the TV on, the news on here in the studio, and just watching children walk out just down the road holding their parents' hands, being, I can't even imagine what it is to either see your child after a situation like this, or worse, to not see your child after a situation like this. We do not have names on the children who have lost their lives, the 2 adults who have lost their lives, or the shooter at this time. We will keep you updated with that information, and we expect Metro Nashville Police Department to do the same here in just a moment.
Rachel Wegner of the Tennessean, reiterating what you just said, that it's not clear if the shooter is one of the 2 adults that are deceased. So that's
an
something
important clarification. So we do not. So because I had been operating under the assumption that it was 5 individuals plus the shooter.
That was the initial report: 4 dead, 3 children, and that includes the shooter. And then WSMV adding reports that it's 3 kids and 2 adults. So, but there's nothing concrete to say that the shooter is one of the 2 adults, or if they are adding 2 adults to that death tally. There was some confusion on the school. Some of the initial reports were saying St. Paul Christian School because of the proximity between the 2. But you said it. Covenant Presbyterian School is where the shooting happened.
So as we await comment and media availability from Metro Nashville PD, obviously we continue to keep an eye on the situation. Our sister station, WTN, and their newsroom are actively trying to gather more information, as are journalists on the ground at the site in Green Hills and at both the children's hospital and the adult hospital on Vanderbilt's campus, trying to deal with the deceased and the wounded at this point. I read for you earlier the Bill Lee statement from the governor. We also have statements from Mayor John Cooper and from several other political figures here in the state of Tennessee. We'll keep you updated with those. It's really, I mean, it's varying versions of the same statement. Again, from Bill Lee, I'm closely monitoring the tragic situation at Covenant, and the Tennessee Department of Safety and Tennessee Highway Patrol are assisting local law enforcement and first responders at the scene as we continue to respond. Please join us in praying for the school congregation and the Nashville community. So people like Bill Haggerty, Cameron Sexton, Tennessee Speaker of the House, Freddie O'Connell, who's running for mayor, all people offering statements at this time. Statements are one thing, action is another, and at this time, there are many brave people who are acting to make sure that the situation is secure, that the children who have not lost their lives are as safe as humanly possible at this point, and trying to make sure that there is no threat to public safety, as it is currently confirmed that there is not right now, but still trying to see children and get children reunited with their families and loved ones at this point. With that being said, we are going to continue to effort people who are on the scene to join us at this point. I think it is also worth going back to WSMV's coverage here, Lucas, because it does seem like they are updating the situation as far as road closures are concerned. We're trying to keep people if it is not important for you to be in the area, law enforcement is asking for you to stay clear of the area and surrounding areas as they try to get people back with their children. WTN, we're going to pivot over to WTN's live coverage of the shooting this morning at the Covenant School here in Green Hills in Nashville, 33 Burton Hills Boulevard, the location where the shooter has been neutralized and confirmed dead by Metro Nashville PD. So we will break into WTN's coverage live right now.
Or whatever, but the goal is to find the shooter immediately so that we can avoid other people getting killed. And this is a tragedy. You never think it's going to happen in your own backyard, for sure.
But you have to always be prepared, and that's why you go through these kinds of trainings that, Kathy, I know you've been through. Our own Brink Fiddler that people have heard here on WTN a lot. I think he was actually one. They went through some of this training, and they went through his training course. So perhaps that may be why we don't have more.
Pamela, could I ask Kathy a question?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, my source says a high-caliber rifle ammunition was seen in the hallway, as well as handgun casings. When you hear the term high-caliber rifle ammunition, what does that tell you? That would not necessarily be like an AR-15, for example.
No, sir. It's usually like a 223 round or higher. It's a deadly round. You don't need many to take people out, especially children. So this shooter was obviously intent. I'll be anxious to hear more about, did he have a beef with someone at the school? He wasn't obviously a student there, like so many have been in the past. But that particular weapon is something that is used for other purposes, but certainly it is a deadly round. And then having a handgun, whoever it was well prepared and ready to take out probably a lot more people. So I'm just very curious. I know they don't have, school protection necessarily. I don't know if they have hired security there. But,